There's something interesting that happens this time of year, almost every year. And it seems to be around, yeah, the winter solstice. And I've seen it almost every year with different people. And it just seems to be the time of year that people cut ties with certain other people in their life or burn bridges. This is the time of year that people burn bridges with each other. Of course, maybe it's just like one person, or it's a job, or a family member, or a partner. There's been a lot of breakups this time of year. I've seen it, like, not just with me, but with my friends. And people get irritated with each other this year, or I mean, this time of year. And it's also interesting that people just kind of lose patience with each other and things in life in general. And it's interesting. I've worked throughout my life at being more patient and hope that I would mature in that way to be more patient, but dauntingly, I feel I have become less patient, which is disconcerting, at least, because I want to be a patient person. And I've worked with it, and I'm getting better at it. But some days I'm worse at it. And it's like I was noticing last night, like one of my friends asked me a question that I just got irritated at, that I wouldn't normally get irritated at. But I brought a bass to the jam that we had along with my guitar, and they're like, "Oh, are you gonna play bass all day?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm gonna play whatever I want, But I had kind of this snarky kind of attitude, and I hate it when I do that. And then, of course, they're being like, "Well, you're like being it's like whatever," And I'm like, "Well, I am," but I'm just like, I don't know, what kind of a question was that? That's a weird question. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play bass a little bit. I'm gonna play guitar a little bit, So just, but what I should have done in retrospect is just not. It's just weird to get triggered by such small things, but that's what I'm talking about losing patience with just others for the most trivial things. I could have just been like, without shushing the person too hard, and just because there was already a jam happening, and there's like this loud question to me, and I don't know. I think this person has a bit of like distractedness, and they're kind of chaotic and stuff, and chaotic people kind of irritate me because I am also that way, and I have to really put a lot of intention into slowing down so I don't miss anything, so I'm not all frazzled. I don't like the frazzled energy. I don't like it. Like, you miss stuff, you forget things, you get flustered and frustrated. And yeah, it can be pretty frustrating, but there's lots of things about this time of year that is just really interesting to me, about how things kind of end and begin. And I think a part of us subconsciously, we're looking for like a new start, for newness in our lives and our relationships, because things get old, expired. People get frustrated at each other, get sick of like the different certain behaviors that rub us wrong and stuff. And I think we've all been through that kind of experience at least once, and probably every year, if we're being honest, at least in this life. Another thing I was meditating on, a lot of these ideas come to me right before I fall asleep about stuff I want to talk about. And so it's really been helpful for me to make these videos, because it's some kind of like, I want to, like, my main thing is, intention behind making these videos is engagement and talking to other people I wouldn't ordinarily talk to. because of the internet, which is one of the cool things about the internet. I mean, sure, it'd be great to be getting tons of likes and views and actually making money. Yeah, that would be great. It's like, of course, money doesn't heal depression, but it sure fucking helps. It sure. And I'm a fun person. I'm a community person. If I had the finances, I would make a space that could be open 24/7 for people. It's like there'd be different rooms. It could be like a sanctuary, and there could be different kind of things going on. There could be a room where there's jam sessions. There could be a room that's like a library, and people can just relax and get away from the noise and hustle and bustle and just like read, drink tea. So yeah, perhaps someday, if I'm fortunate enough to make something like that happen, I definitely would. Right now, I just help people by growing the plant medicine, which has helped me a lot, and it is a real honor to do that. All right, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but the main premise of this video is this time of year, it is really easy, and it's really sad too, how things fall apart. People burn bridges, and a lot of my friends move from Olympia this time of year, and I'm really getting close to, like, I really want to, like, every year my want to leave and go somewhere new is stronger, and I just have to get out of Olympia. It's so limited here, like, I've never had such trouble, like, finding a partner. Not that I'm avidly looking for that, but it's come a lot natural everywhere else I've lived, or almost everywhere else I've lived. I've lived in some small towns too, and yeah, you have to get out of those if you don't want to be stuck in the same small town. It is expanding of your mind to go to a new place, put yourself in a not comfortable position, and get out there. You got to put yourself out there. Another thing I wanted to mention is one thing that really helps with mental health and ADD is it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget all the really good times in life. And especially in our depressed moments, we're so in this tunnel and in this little inside ourselves that we don't remember the awesome things about our friends and our community. And so that's where gratitude, to take time and meditate and be grateful, really helps, because in those times you dedicate to that, it is an act of remembering and recalling, or you can make it an act of remembering and recalling the beautiful, the good things of this life, of yourself, of the people around you. And so that's what I want to encourage. I know a lot of my videos can be pretty heavy and laden with existential angst, which I admit that I have, and I think it's okay to, in this world. It's okay to not accept difficult things in this world, I think. I don't think we're here to per se accept it. In fact, maybe by accepting it, you're actually compromising your own integrity. It's kind of masochistic. I've mentioned that before. Just another sidebar here. I was also thinking about when it came to mental health, and I could do a whole nother video on this, and I don't know if I will. This it's a little bit of a trigger warning, maybe, but one thing about being a man, that I realized, one of the struggles with men is testosterone is the sex hormone. And that's why guys just want to fuck, and they're seen as shallow, and it gets annoying because there's so many men, and being a man, it gets pretty frustrating having that. It's like we're kind of a little bit roofied all the time by our own hormone, which is like a drug. From someone that does drugs, hormones are like drugs. They make us crazy. Even if you don't do drugs, you just have drugs producing themselves within you. And whether you learn to manage that in a healthy way or not, it's just the way it is. So I think that's just, I just wanted to say that because it's a pretty basic thing. And it drives a lot of guys crazy. They get all torn up about it and all like project it onto the people, onto the women in their lives, or even men, I guess, if you're not straight. Other men, if you're a man that's attracted to men. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. And there's a lot of frustration that comes with not getting that release. And I think it's important actually for guys to, which is, here's a very unpopular opinion, but to not be ashamed to like masturbate to pornography or whatever. And I want to explain that a little bit. I should have explained that first before I just said that, but how it is when guys look at that stuff and the whole eroticism thing is we're not necessarily looking for the most, or at least for me, I'm not looking for the most beautiful woman, or like I need to watch all these videos, because you get so used to it that you get like your tolerance goes up or something like that. It's not like that. What it's like is with different videos, it's the sexual energy between two people, and a good video is where it's really strong. And the reason I hear that, it's like they'll say at some point from watching porn, you'll be spending all this time watching porn because one video isn't enough or whatever. But it's not so much like that. It's because there's so many not good porn videos, and so you have to find a good one. I don't like pay for that stuff, and I don't, half the time I get myself to do that, it's like I don't really want to do that. It's so much better to be with a real person. But when you don't have that, it is important to accept that part of yourself that's like that and get that release. Otherwise it builds up and you get I don't know, toxic with I don't know. I think other guys can understand what I'm saying, maybe. And maybe some women. When I talk about men and women, it's just a general thing. There are, of course, women who are probably horny all the time and can probably totally relate with what I'm saying. And both men and women also have testosterone. There's just more generally with men. So yeah, and that can also be something that affects mental health. This is the time of year that I really yearn for that kind of thing. And yearning is tough because a little bit of yearning is manageable, but a lot of yearning, just the pining, the yearning, it's just like, I don't want to be in that state. I don't want to even really look at porn. It's part of accepting that part of me, and there's no shame in it. It's just where I'm at. It's crazy. Another thing about living here and everything on that note is, like, I don't think I'm that unattractive of a guy. Like, I'm attracted to myself and my personality and my nuanced viewpoints, my creativity. There's lots of aspects of me that's very interesting. I have never had any luck on any online dating service that I've ever tried. And maybe that's just some fluke with me, but I think it's also this area. I'm just not really attracted to a lot of people in this ethos, so I'd have to find another unicorn for that to happen, which is pretty rare. And yeah, so I've got off like the dating app thing, which is kind of this weird, unnatural kind of hypergamy thing, where like the worst parts of men and women kind of are displayed on that. How it's all like a game of attractiveness and status and wealth and all that. And it's like, not to say it doesn't work for some people, but it's like, what happened to being attracted to people for their personality? I know that exists, but it's pretty rare. But that's just another reason I want to move away from here. So instead of burning any bridges, I just want to move. That's my goal for myself by next year. I'm going to save up, which is pretty challenging in this consumer society, to actually save money and move, which is also a creative or a courageous and bold move to move to a place that you don't have any family, don't even have a job established. And I've done this once before when I moved to Chicago. And kind of when I moved here out to Olympia back in 2016, I had a farm that I had my sights on to work there, and I ended up working there. And so that worked out, but it's quite a bold move to just move somewhere without having a job or anything, or even having a degree like me. Everything I've learned has been through hands-on working, figuring out whatever things are involved with the vocation, the line of work that I'm in. So yeah, that's my goal. There is something very psychedelic and empowering and renewing with moving somewhere new. It's terrifying for some people, like even just the thought of it. But for others of us, we just get, like, there's more to me. I am a relational person. I am a person that likes a space. I'm kind of a homebody. But I love doing outings. I love trying new things. I love being in a band. I'm a real collaborator in the creative field. And that kind of thing gives me energy in life when it's a healthy environment amongst people or other creative, other artists. So it's like gratitude for what we do have and remembering that, and if need be, to be able to move somewhere else. And it is kind of like starting over, starting a new life. Sure, you can't escape yourself, but we have to escape a lot of times in this world. Like, I know that's not really an aesthetic people like, but we all do it. Heck, even in the song, "These Are a Few of My Favorite Things," when the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling bad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. It's pretty close to escapism, even like conceptually, even just remembering those things. You're focusing on the positives, and so you might not consider that escapism, but anytime you focus on the positive, I would say it would describe escaping that dark, but you're not just escaping, you're moving into something. Because if you're just escaping something, where are you going? You need to have some kind of intention, some kind of motive on what you are trying to do and who you are trying to be and where you are trying to go in life. And so that's my little bit of insight on that, just from my 36 years of experience. And I'm going on 9 years living here. And it'll be 9 years in June in Olympia. And I want to move somewhere else. And it is hard when you move somewhere else because you're basically starting over. And it's not easy to start over, but it can be exciting. It can be scary. But when you're in a whole new environment, there is a powerful sense of newness and excitement that comes with that. So for any of you also in a similar kind of stagnant kind of place, when that stagnant gets more and more and you find yourself getting more and more impatient with just how things aren't really manifesting on the timeline that you kind of set for yourself, I have manifested some awesome things. I was in a band where I was getting paid by this guy who had a successful business and wanted to pay us. And that was awesome. I've had some really awesome things happen. So I do manifest things. But as far as relationships, that's a real tricky one. That's a real tricky one. To find someone that's really right for you. And like I've said in another video, relationships can be really healing and awesome, to find the right person. And many of us don't know how potent it can be until you really find someone that you have powerful chemistry with. That in spite of all their shortcomings or whatever, you see something in them that maybe they don't even see in themselves. And it's so powerful that, like, the experience I had when I really had that is even after the breakup and all that, which feels like a death, which is very difficult, every time I get to see that person, the love is such that it's kind of like if you've had a friend that passed and you've heard people say, I would do anything to spend one more day with them. That is synonymous with the feeling I'm talking about. Just